Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grapevine Sports. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Commanders hiring Dan Quinn as quarterback. We're going to do a Super Bowl preview and also touch on the Jets. Let's start off this episode. We're going to talk about Dan Quinn being hired as Commanders' new head coach. Being a Commanders fan myself, I at first wanted Bobby Slowick as the coach, but at the time I would have been okay with them hiring Ben Johnson. But them falling back and hiring Dan Quinn seems like kind of a little bit of a lateral move after firing Rivera and then hiring a coach that's very similar to him and Dan Quinn, but hopefully he'll be better than Rivera was. Although it was not going to be, it should be too hard to be better than him. He was pretty much a disaster when he was here. But hiring Dan Quinn it's not great. I've been sort of like trying to talk myself into it over the past few days. Ever since it first happened, I didn't like it, and then I've been talking myself into it as it's gone on, and now I've slowly cared less and less about the hiring and focusing more on the draft and stuff like that. But some interesting stuff came out about Ben Johnson over the past few days about him kind of being kind of a like what's something good way to describe him? Not quite a jerk, but kind of like maybe a little bit full of himself. Maybe I would probably describe him as maybe a bit full of himself when it came to the interviews. He probably didn't interview well for the Commanders and other teams, which is why he decided to stay in pat at with the Lions and hopefully try to win the Super Bowl with them. And he could have been asking for too much money. I've heard that rumor as well. And mostly, and also because they think he might not be much of a leader as it comes to leading a football team. He might be one of those guys just good at drawing up plays, a good offensive coordinator, but not somebody that you want necessarily leading your football team. But let's move on from that topic and let's go on to see what I want to see the Commanders do in the draft. So there's a couple options I would like them to do. They may take a quarterback, whether that be Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels. I personally, the dream scenario for me would be trade for Justin Fields, because I feel like Chicago's giving up on him way too easily. And if you can trade for Justin Fields with that number 1-2 pick, the Bears will probably take Caleb Williams, and then you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. Then you can get the best lineman in the second round. That's going to be the ultimate and the dream scenario for me as a Commanders fan, and that I would love for them to do that. Another thing I would like they could do is also trade for Kyler Murray, which is interesting. Is gonna be an interesting prospect for me, especially considering they just hired Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator, and he's worked with Murray in the past. So that seems like an interesting proposition. I haven't heard anybody come up with that so far, and I would kind of like to see that happen. He's a pretty good quarterback. Definitely be the best one we had so far. Probably the last 15 years since RG3. Well, that's closer to 12 years now. 12 years since RG3 was there. So we had a good quarterback, and he would probably be the best one since then. Another option obviously would be just draft Drake May or Caleb Williams, whatever, depending on what the Bears do. If they keep Justin Fields, they'd probably take Marvin Harrison Jr. Then you can take Caleb Williams. He's right there. But I wouldn't necessarily want Caleb Williams because he's from Washington, D.C., and he might have the same problem as Chase Young had when he was here, as being like too much pressure and to know some people around him, people asking him for money, favors, and stuff like that. So that might put a lot of pressure on a rookie. It definitely affected Chase Young, in my opinion, which is why it's in addition to his injuries, which is why I think he never really had as much of a fair shake as some of the other rookies. But he's not really playing the best in San Francisco right now, so that's probably beside the point. Now, what I wanted to say next was the Bears. Yes, I think they're giving up on Justin Fields way too easily, and they should give him more of a chance. Let him work out some more. He hasn't had the best receivers. He just got DJ Moore this year, and they played pretty well with him. And even though he got injured, he came back and played pretty well at the end of the season. And I think that they're giving up on him too easily. And once they give him a good line, which they can do in this draft with the first pick and the ninth overall pick, they can get a lineman, or they can take Marvin Harrison Jr., and that will make that offense scary. They'll have a good running back in Khalil Herbert, and then they'll have Fields and DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, could be Marvin Harrison Jr., and then they'll have a decent line around it to protect him. while they might end up taking Caleb Williams, which I would say would be a mistake because lots of teams will want Justin Fields. You can easily trade for him. I think it would take maybe a third or a fourth round pick to trade for him, maybe 2/4. I don't think it would be hard to trade for him, and he has a lot of upside, and so I think a lot of teams would be calling the Bears to trade for Justin Fields. So that's basically it for the Bears. But in my opinion, they should keep Justin Fields and try to build around him and work for the future. But if they were trying to trade him, trade for the Commanders, so we could draft him. Trade for him and take Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be an awesome scenario for me. Now we're gonna preview the Super Bowl. Who I think is gonna win? This is gonna be a very interesting game. Two great defenses and two offenses who definitely had their problems in the past few games. Although the 49ers did score about 37 points last game. Last game in the NFC Championship against the Lions, they did start out slow, and now this week they're playing a really good defense in the Chiefs, who held the Ravens to 10 points, which is beside the fact, even though the Ravens act like they didn't want to run the ball, but that's beside the point. They still held the Ravens to 10 points in the AFC Championship game. However, this week they're coming up against a different type of defense. A defense led by Chris Jones in the defensive line and L'Jarius Sneed in the secondary. They've been holding teams down in the playoffs pretty well, and they're facing a good offense in the 49ers. Who got lots of weapons: Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. A really good offense in the 49ers, and led by Brock Purdy at quarterback. Which would be a great story for him to get to go from last pick in the draft, Mr. Relevant, to a Super Bowl champion. That is a great story. That would be a great storyline for the Super Bowl. That's one of the storylines. And then as for the Chiefs, we have Patrick Mahomes going for his third Super Bowl. He's closing it on GOAT territory. He's already going to be, if he wins the Super Bowl, he'll be ahead of Tom Brady's pace is when he was at this point in his career. And Brady, of course, played till about 44 years old. So, and Patrick Mahomes, I believe he's only 29. That'll be 3 Super Bowls, and he got plenty of time. If he even plays as long as Brady, he'll definitely win as many Super Bowls as Tom, making him the GOAT. But aside from all that, we also have the Taylor Swift being in the booth. You can literally make bets on how many times the camera's gonna pan up to the booth. You could literally make bets. I believe it's like 4.5 times. I would go over 4.5 amount of the times. You can see on all those bet places where you can make bets on that type of thing. You can also bet on coin tosses, the Gatorade color, things like that. A bunch of weird bets. Also, national anthem. You can bet how long that'll take. That'll be interesting. But enough of all of that. Let's go talk about the Chiefs offense. So the Chiefs offense was led by Patrick Mahomes. We got Travis Kelce. And then Rashee Rice, who's been the good standout rookie wide receiver for the Chiefs, who's been playing really well for them. And then Isaiah Pacheco, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL. I think he's really underrated. Not many experts I don't think giving him the credit that he deserves. He's a really good running back, and he's going to be in this league for a long time to come if he keeps playing like this. I think the Chiefs, if they can run the ball and set the tone early with the run game, and then get Mahomes out of the pocket, making plays like he likes to do, they have a good chance to win. But I think the 49ers defense is too tough for them, and they won't be able to escape or only scoring 17 points in the last game and win, because the 49ers have too good of an offense to lose like that. So with all that being said, I'm going to take the 49ers 24 and the Chiefs 18 in the Super Bowl. The 49ers, I think Brock Purdy is going to get his first Super Bowl championship, and he'll be named Super Bowl MVP. And Kyle Shanahan will finally get over the hump and get his first Super Bowl championship as a coach of the 49ers, going to his second one when he was with the Falcons, I believe, in the infamous 28-3 game, which we don't talk about for obvious reasons. We're not going to talk about it. But aside from all of that, I believe that what else do I want to talk about? I should be posting an episode about recapping the NBA trade deadline in a couple of days, so be on the lookout for that. Drop in the comments what you'd like me to talk about next, and oh yeah, as you guys can see, I redid the channel. It's now called Grapevine Sports. new banner, new banner, new name. Let me know what you guys think about that. Like, comment, subscribe, and ask comment down what you want me to talk about next. I'll see you. Peace.